Okay, we'll start. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजना सहितं कृष्ण चैतन्य देवं श्री राधा कृष्ण पादान् सहगणा ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी निति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे Hare Krishna. So we are discussing from the third canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, and we are on chapter 15 now. So Maitreya and Vidura Samvad is going on. Maitreya Muni is describing the birth of Varahadev and the killing of the demon Hiranyaksha. So to describe that, Maitreya is describing the background of the birth of Hiranyaksha. And in the 14th chapter, we discussed that Diti, she approached Kashyap at a wrong time, and because of that, she offended Lord Shiva, she offended the Devatas, it was not proper time, she didn't follow the instructions of her husband. And as a result of that, Kashyap Muni said, you will have two sons who will be the greatest of the demons, and they'll be killed by the Supreme Lord himself. And when Diti lamented, repented, so Kashyap said, okay, you will have one grandson who will be a great devotee, and that will be Prahlad. So we discussed in the end, he describes the glories of Prahlad. Kashyap Muni describes the glory of Prahlad Maharaj. Savai Mahabhagavato Mahatma Mahanubhavo Mahatam Hishtha. So all these things, it is described. And now after this, we'll start the 15th chapter today. Very, very wonderful chapter. The description of the kingdom of God is going to come in this chapter. So in this chapter, the Devatas, they ask Brahma to speak about the history of Diti's sons. So what happened to the sons of Diti? What happened to the pregnancy of Diti? So that is the question which Devatas will ask Brahma. So Maitreya, he continues the discussion saying that Diti could understand that the sons within her womb, they will be the cause of disturbance to the Devatas. So therefore she held her sons in her womb for 100 years. Because she was fearful that the Devatas will be troubled by my sons. So let me keep them as many years as I can, so that at least for that much amount of time, Devatas will be free of that fear. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur writes that she was worried of two things. She was worried about giving suffering to the Devatas, and also she was worried that they would be killed by Vishnu. So she was thinking that at least if they are within the womb, they are alive, right? So once they will come out, then they will be killed by the Supreme Lord. So the laws of nature, they are very merciless, Every action will have a reaction. Even if one feels regretful, even if one feels sad and tries to avoid the reaction, it will come for sure. So therefore, we have to be really attentive in our dealings. As NOI, the Nectar of Instruction describes in detail various dealings between devotees. Negligent offensive and inattentive dealings are to be avoided when we are dealing with devotees. Negligent, offensive, and inattentive dealings. So, because Diti, she was such a great personality, she was the wife of one of the Prajapatis. So, the greater the personality is, the greater the responsibility he has or she has. And if a greater person commits a mistake, then the result is havoc. Everyone suffers. So, if a great soul gets deviated, then it creates havoc for everyone. So, therefore, one who is in a greater position, that is his responsibility to serve and behave in a proper way. So, as the sons in the womb of Diti, they started growing. In due course of time, the sun lost, Surya, sun and the moon lost its brilliance. Darkness started spreading everywhere. And everybody was confused. And Devatas, they approached Brahma because they also lost their power. They also lost their brilliance. So they were very fearful of what is going to happen. So they went to Sumeru mountain. They didn't go to Satyalok. Brahmaji has various homes. An ordinary person of this world has few homes where he can go, and some home in some resort or some retreat center or somewhere. So Brahmaji also has a retreat center on the top of Sumeru mountain. It comes in the 5th canto. So all the devatas, they go to this Sumeru mountain and they started praying to Brahmaji. And now they offer various prayers stating the qualification of Brahma to solve the problem. So we have to understand that these devatas, they are going to Brahma because they need something, and they are glorifying Brahma out of some motive. It is not a pure, unalloyed prayer without any expectation. So devatas, they say, "Oh Brahma, oh great one, just see, this darkness is spreading everywhere. And this is creating anxiety for us. You are only beyond the time." So is Brahma beyond time factor? Brahma is within the time factor. Brahmaji also dies. Only Krishna is beyond time factor. But why they are addressing Brahma as the Supreme Lord who is beyond time factor? Because he is an Gunavatar of the Lord. He is a qualitative incarnation. Otherwise, only Krishna is beyond time factor. It comes in the 1st canto when Krishna enters Dwarka. He was there in Hastinapur for some time, and then he entered Dwarka after performing all his pastimes in Hastinapur. The residents of Dwarka, they speak one of the very wonderful prayers. Natasmate nath sadangri pankajam virincha vairincha surendra vanditam parayanam shemami hecchatam para na yatra kalaha prabhavet para prabhu. Natasmate nath, O my Lord, O our Lord, we offer our obeisances unto your lotus feet. That lotus feet is worshipped by Virincha, Vairincha, Surendra Vanditam, worshipped by Indra, 4 Kumaras, and Brahma. Virinch means Brahma, Vairincha means the son of Brahma, and Surendra, Indra. Anybody who wants welfare, Parayanam Shemam Ihicchatam, then he has to take your shelter, because you are the only one who is beyond time factor. Nayatra Kala Prabhavet. The time factor doesn't affect you, oh my Lord. So these devatas, they are saying, you are beyond time factor, you can destroy all our anxiety. And then they speak this verse. We'll recite this verse. Deva Deva Jagadhatar Lokanatha Shikhamane Pareshama Paresham Tvam Bhutanam Asi Bhavavet. So Deva Dev, O God of Devatas, you are the sustainer of the universe. Jagat Dhataha, you are the Lokanath Shikhamani, you are the crest jewel of all the Devatas. Paresham, Aparesham, in both the spiritual and the material world, you know the intention of all the living entities. Bhavavit. So he's saying, they are saying that you know everything. You know the intentions of everyone. So therefore you must be knowing the cause of this darkness. Please reveal to us. And Prabhupada writes that because Brahma is almost on equal footing as the Supreme Lord, he is addressed as the God of all the demigods. Namo Vijnana Viryaya Maya Yedam Upeyushe Grihita Guna Bhedaya Namaste Avyakta Yonaye. So he says, all the devatas, they are saying, oh my Lord, oh Brahmaji, you are the Vijnana Viryaya. You are the original source of strength and knowledge. Offer obeisances. We offer obeisances unto you. You have accepted the differentiated mode of passion. And with the help of external energy, you are manifesting this entire universe. In this way, they are offering all the beautiful prayers. And then they say, you are the power of all the knowledge. Ye tvananyena bhavena bhavantyatma bhavanam atmani protam bhuvanam param sadasadatmakam. So he says, so they are saying that anyone who meditates on you without any deviation, they attain devotional service. So all these prayers, they are actually applicable for the Supreme Lord. They are just addressing Brahmaji by these prayers because Brahmaji is a Gunavatar. So it comes in many places in Bhagavatam. Lord Shiva is also addressed as Supreme Lord. It comes in the 4th canto when Sati, she burned herself, then to pacify, Lord Shiva sent Veerbhadra and destroyed everything. All the devatas headed by Brahma, they came and they pacified Lord Shiva by glorifying Lord Shiva as the creator, as the maintainer, as the destroyer, everything like the Supreme Lord. So similarly here also, Brahmaji is described as the Supreme, and by serving you, they say one who meditates on you attains devotional service. Atma Bhavanam, all the living entities are generated from you, and all the existing planets, these are sustained by you only. Therefore, you are the cause of everything. And then they say, oh my Lord, oh Brahmaji, the purpose of any yoga system is to achieve the mercy of the Lord. And they say people in the world, all the living entities, they are trying to come out of this cycle of birth and death by controlling the mind and the senses. But unless they attain your mercy, they cannot do it. Just like the Supreme Lord, again, the same prayer. Because they say, in this world, everyone gets defeated. We are also trying to win over this material nature since millions of lifetimes. But still, in every life, we have experienced defeat only. That's the only thing which we have experienced. Life after life, getting defeated by the material nature. As Rishabdev tells, Parabhavasthavada bodha jato yavanna jigyasat atma tattvam. Parabhava. We have experienced defeat many lifetimes. For many lifetimes, we have experienced defeat. Parabhava. And therefore, they say that only by your mercy we can control this process. We can win over this process, win over this cycle of birth and death. And Prabhupada writes, and Prabhupada never ever confuses anyone. Wherever it is described that, okay, Brahma is described as supreme, he says, only by the mercy of the Supreme Lord one can control this material nature. One can control the mind and senses only by the mercy of the Lord. As I was telling in the morning also, to control the mind and senses, one needs mercy of the Lord. And to achieve mercy of the Lord, one should have controlled mind and senses. So it is a circular logic. So which starts first? With whatever capacity we have, whatever strength we have to start controlling the senses. And then seeing our endeavors, Krishna will show mercy. So Prabhupada writes, this is actually possible when one fully engages in Krishna consciousness. No doubt, That's why Srila Prabhupada's books look many times repetitive. Some person came and told Prabhupada, Prabhupada, why are you saying the same thing again and again? We are not this body, we are soul, we are supposed to serve Krishna. Prabhupada said, still you are not understanding. That's the problem. Itna sun ke bhi nahi samajh raha hai. So it is like Prabhupada acts like a loving mother who keeps on telling the same thing, and the child gets irritated. Ek baat kitne baar bolenge ab ek hi baat ko, Still the mother tells because she is concerned about the child. Similarly, Prabhupada keeps on repeating the same thing so that at least sometime we will understand. So Prabhupada writes, a person whose senses and mind are always engaged in devotional service, there is no possibility of engaging in material activities. As Yamunacharya, he prays that, oh my Lord, after I have started experiencing you, the sweetness of you, all the things of this world, all the relationships of this world, they are insignificant for me. So therefore, Prabhupada writes, devotees of the Lord are never defeated anywhere. Very, very strong statement. They are never defeated. Narayan para sarve na kutaschana bibhyati swarga apavarga narakeshu apitulyartha darshinaha. Narayan para devotees, those people, those devotees who are surrendered to Lord Narayan, they are never afraid of any situation. Even if they are put in Swarga or Naraka, they are not concerned. They see everything equally because wherever I get a chance to serve Krishna, I am ready to go there. That is a devotee. Yeah, that's why we are on the path of liberation, right? We are also aiming for that. So these are the ideals which we should know actually that these are the ideals we have to reach to. It may look very tall order, but that's the journey we have embarked on. There is no option. Now we have to reach to that level. To get liberated, to get love of God, we have to reach to that level. And Srila Prabhupada and all the Vartaman Acharya Vrinda, they have shown by their life that this is possible, but we have to do consistent devotional service. We don't have to do any, miraculous things in Krishna consciousness. Krishna is pleased by consistent devotional service. That's it. Doing the same things again and again. Somebody may say, "Arey, kuch to extra karna padega, nahi?" No, kuch extra nahi karna hai. Same things we have to do day after day. If somebody has to cross an ocean, same steps which took him 10 meters ahead, same steps will take him to cross the ocean also. Nothing extra. If he starts thinking, thoda somersault karte hain idhar, no, not required. So that is what we have to understand, that same thing repeatedly, every day, consistently, that will take us close to Krishna. So then they say that just like a bull is controlled by a rope which is attached to his nose, similarly, all the living entities in this world, they are controlled by the Vedic injunctions given by you, O my Lord. The scriptures, they are the controlling injunctions. They control everyone. And nobody can violate the Vedic scriptures. Nobody can violate the rules. If they violate, then they'll have to suffer. And Prabhupada writes that conditioned souls, they want to enjoy in this world. There is nothing against, we are not against sense gratification. Prabhupada always gives an example. Sense gratification is like salt. Not too less, not too much. So therefore, we have to engage our senses in serving Krishna. We cannot just stop eating. We cannot stop seeing. We cannot stop hearing. We have to do it in a way it is related to Krishna. So after telling all this, they say, please solve this problem. Please solve this problem of the darkness which has come because of the Diti's pregnancy. please be merciful on us. We have fallen into this miserable condition. Please protect us, So, all these devatas, they are going to Brahmaji and telling that, "Arey, light chala gaya. Building mein light nahi hai, generator chalu karna padega," So that is the problem they are facing, because when the sun is not there, it is all darkness. So universal administration gets disturbed. So all the devatas, they are not able to work properly. So therefore they are saying, please do something. So devatas, they always come with some agenda. But in Krishna consciousness, we have to be in the mood of not devatas, but in the mood of the gopis. They are ready to serve Krishna without any personal motivation. At least we can try on that, path. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur writes that because of this darkness, there is no division of day and night. Just see the power of these two, demons who are there in the womb. While in the womb, they are creating so much of havoc. So devatas are thinking, bahar aayenge to kya hoga phir, So therefore, they are really afraid what is going to happen. And because they are saying that, please be compassionate on us. Dekho hum kitne dukhi hain. In this world, if you see somebody suffering, naturally you feel compassion, right? So devatas are saying, look, generally, people in the world, they show compassion. They feel compassion for a person who is suffering, but that compassion may not last long. It is temporary. Just like if we are driving and the car stops at the signal and the beggar comes with all torn cloth. So somebody may say, "Arey, bichara bhikhari hai." Lekin they will not do anything. They'll just drive. So devatas are saying, you do not do like that person. Bichara bol ke humko bhejo mat, You just help us. Try to take us out of this situation. And then they explain very logically the reason for the compassion of Brahmaji. They say that this embryo which is there in the womb of Devaki, of Diti, the wife of Kashyapa, it has caused the entire darkness all over the place. Please do something, When we are in difficulty, we approach some superior person. Just like these devatas, they are approaching Brahmaji. So when we approach somebody, anyone, if in this world we want to get some help, so first, what do we do when we approach somebody? Just jati bol dete kya ye chahiye, First we glorify that person, and then we express our fallen condition, ki we need help, and then you express your desire. That is the same case with Krishna also. It comes in the first canto of Bhagavatam when Arjuna, he faces Brahmastra sent by Ashwatthama. So his life is in danger. And Brahmastra is coming. So Arjuna, in that situation also, he finds time to speak 4 verses glorifying Krishna. Weapon is coming, arrow is coming to hit him. Still he finds time to pray to Krishna and glorify Krishna. So none of us are in that situation when we come in front of Radha Gopinath ji, that we don't find time to glorify Radha Gopinath. Sometimes we feel that, it is so very urgent. Ab bhi nahi bolunga to apna life is going to get destroyed. But it is never the case. So therefore, we have to always learn to glorify Krishna before asking Krishna anything. So after hearing all this, Brahmaji, he thought, chalo, devatas, they have come. And they will never come to me to hear Krishna Katha, right? So let me speak some Bhagavatam. Let me glorify Krishna, and then after that, I'll tell them the solution also. So when somebody comes and asks for some guidance, we should never ever forget to give them Krishna also. All the material problems of the world, they should be solved, but along with that, we always know that they are temporary solutions. Aaj ka problem jayega, kal dusra problem aayega. We should always remember to give a person spiritual solution also. So Brahmaji, what he is going to do now, he is going to give spiritual solution by speaking Bhagavatam, speaking the glories of Vaikuntha. He got an opportunity, that okay, these devatas have come, let me speak about the glories of Vaikuntha. And they say, oh devatas, one time, my four sons, Sanak, Sanatan, Sanandan, and Sanat Kumar, they were traveling all over the material and spiritual worlds, and they travel without any specific desire. So we have to understand, when the four Kumaras, they go where, which Vaikuntha they go in this pastime? Outside the spiritual, outside material world, or inside material world? How can they go outside of this material world? There are three Vaikunthas in this material world also. And the one is in Dhruvaloka, other is above Satyaloka, and third is on the Lokaloka mountain. So which Vaikuntha they went, it is not specifically described, but they went in this material world only, one of the Vaikunthas. So these Brahmaji says, my sons, they were traveling by their own desire. And Prabhupada writes, when we speak of desire, we refer to material sense gratification, desire for material sense gratification. But for saintly people like Kumaras, there is no material sense gratification. They are already liberated souls. They travel only to preach the message of Krishna consciousness. Mahadvichalanam nrinam grihinam dinachetasam nishreyasaya bhagavan kalpate nanyatha kvachet. Nanda Maharaj is telling to Gargacharya that people like you, O Garg Muni, they travel for the welfare of people in general. Grihinam, Dina Chetasam, those who are householders, just to show mercy to them. People like you travel all over the world. That is the only happiness. One time, Prabhupada gave this name Bhavanand Das. Bhavanand Prabhu, he gave the name Bhavanand Das. And he asked, do you know what is the meaning of Bhavanand? So he said, yes, Prabhupada, one who takes happiness in Bhava. Prabhupada said, that is Bhavanand. Your name is Bhavanand. You know what is the meaning of Bhavanand? One who takes happiness in this material world. So he was thinking, kya naam diya mere ko? What is this? Then Prabhupada said, the only happiness which is there in this material world is preaching Krishna consciousness. That is Bhavananda. So all these devotees, they wander to preach the message of Krishna consciousness. And when we preach, we share Krishna Katha, and even if one person becomes devotee, that is the greatest joy. As Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he has written a bhajan, Tomara sevaya sukha hoy yad dukkha hoy yata seyo to parama sukha seva sukha dukkha parama sampada nashaya avidya dukkha. Oh my Lord, whatever problems are coming in my life, in your service, that is the source of greatest joy. Seva sukha dukkha parama sampada. That is the greatest treasure for me, because Nashay avidya dukkha. That will destroy all the ignorance which is there in the mind. So when this devotee preaches, what is sukh? Sukh means somebody takes to Krishna consciousness. And dukh means you have spent lots of time and energy, and then that person, after spending some months, then he vanishes, he bloops. Kidhar gaya? That is dukkha. All that sukha and dukkha, that destroys the ignorance. So that's how the devotees like Kumaras, they travel. So then, where did they go? So Maitreya Muni, Brahmaji continues. We'll recite this verse. Ta ekada bhagavato vaikunthasyamal yayur vaikuntha nilayam sarvaloka namaskritam. Ta ekada, once upon a time, bhagavataha, all these great souls, they were traveling all over the universe, and once they entered Bhagavataha, they entered the spiritual sky. And that spiritual sky, Vaikuntha, is Amalatmanaha, free of any material contamination. And that spiritual sky is known as Vaikuntha. That is the residence of Supreme Lord and his devotees. Sarva Loka Namaskritam. And that Vaikuntha is worshipped by everyone. So that is the wonderful nature of this Vaikuntha planet. And then Srila Prabhupada writes, material world, of course, Prabhupada emphasizes on this word Vaikuntha. This world is Kuntha, full of cares and anxieties. Wherever you go, Abrahma, Bhuvana, Loka, Punaravartino, Arjuna. But if you go to spiritual world, Vaikuntha, there is no anxiety. Vaikuntha, Vikuntha, no anxiety. But if you offend a devotee, you cannot be peaceful even in Vaikuntha. The Durvasa Muni is an example of this. He went to spiritual world, the same Vaikuntha, and he was in complete Kuntha, complete anxiety. So therefore, if somebody offends the devotee, then there is no hope for that person. So Prabhupada writes, in Vaikuntha, there is no birth, old age, disease, and death. Now, wonderful description of Vaikuntha starts here. Beautifully, Brahmaji describes. Vasanti yatra purushaha sarve Vaikuntha murtayaha ye nimitta nimittena dharmena nadhayan harim. Vasanti yatra purushaha. In these Vaikuntha planets, all the Purushas, all the residents, they are Vaikuntha Murtaya. They are all having the same form as Vishnu. The Lord is never insecure. Mera form le lenge to yaar mere ko kaun pehchanega. Lord shares his own form and opulences with his devotees. He is never insecure like the masters of this world. So therefore, Sarve Vaikuntha Murtayaha. And what are they doing? Animitta nimittena, without any personal sense gratificatory desires. Aradhayan Hari. They are all engaging in worshipping Lord Hari. So therefore, Prabhupada writes, there is only one occupation in the Vaikuntha Loka. That is serving the Lord. There is no other occupation. And devotees, they don't aspire for anything of this world. They are just happy serving Krishna. They don't want anything. Even if they are given liberation, they don't take it. Mama janmani janmani ishware bhavatad bhakti rahetu ki tvai. I want your bhakti life after life. But when people, they come to Krishna consciousness in the beginning, they may not be having this mentality of janmani janmani ishware. One of our devotees, one of our cooks in our base, he wanted to go to West. So in the morning, Sikshashtakam, he would say, Vam Jarmani, Jarmanishware. So that is a transition a devotee goes through, desiring things of this world to nothing of this world. So that is the understanding. Some people ask, when somebody asked Prabhupada, Swami ji, what do you do in the spiritual world? Karna kya hai? Bhagwan ke samne baith ke bas देखना है भगवान को. That's it. और करना क्या रहता है? What is their activity in the spiritual world? Because we never heard anything about spiritual world. क्या करना है? भगवान है और devotee है. क्या करते क्या हैं? Prabhupada said there is unlimited activity going on. And even if you think you have only one service, just looking at the Lord, that is also sufficient. You can just keep looking at the Lord for eternity, still you will never be satisfied. So that is Vaikuntha. Everybody is serving there. Okay, who else is there in Vaikuntha? Yatra chadya pumanaste Bhagavan shabda gocharaha Sattam vishtabhya virajam Swanam nom ridayan vrishaha Yatra cha adya puman. All others are Puman, but Adya Puman, the original personality is who? That is Bhagavan, the Supreme Lord. Shabda Gojara. How to understand that personality? Only Shabda. You cannot understand the Lord by your personal senses. He is Adhokshaja. Akshaja means the senses. Adha Akshaja means beyond the senses. Lord can be perceived only by the scriptures. In one of the verses, it is said that you can smell the fragrance of the lotus feet of the Lord through the scriptures. Jighranti karna vivare shrutivatan. Jighranti, you can smell the aroma of the lotus feet of the Lord through the air of the scriptures. That air which carries the aroma is the scriptures. Sattvam Vishtabhya Virajam, he is full of uncontaminated mode of goodness. And he contributes to the religious progress for the devotees. Prabhupada emphasizes on this verse, this line. Swana no mridayan vrishaha. Supreme Lord contributes religious progress for the devotees. He is more eager to bring us back than we are eager to go back. So that's why he keeps sending his devotees. He comes as avatar, he comes as scriptures, he comes as Archa Vigraha. He is more eager to take us to his own abode. So Prabhupada writes, in this material world, even if somebody is completely in the mode of goodness, it will always be tinged with mode of passion and ignorance. So these three modes, they are always competing. Sometimes goodness, sometimes passion, sometimes ignorance. As Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Rajas tamas cha vibhuya sattvam bhavati bharata, rajas sattvam tamas chaiva, tamas sattvam rajas sada. Sometimes goodness comes up, sometimes passion, sometimes ignorance. It comes everywhere, happens everywhere. While sitting in the class also it happens. Before coming to the class, chalo yaar, class suniye, Bhagavatam suniye, goodness. And then, not applicable to everyone, but it happens sometimes. You come and sit for the class, like, kab tak bolenge yaar ye? Aadha, pauna ghanta ho gaya, 1 hour. Then you start getting disturbed, mode of passion. And then in the class, if somebody is really silent, then there are two reasons. Either he is very attentively listening or preparing to sleep, That is ignorance, So all these three modes, they come, in everything. So that's how Prabhupada writes, in this world, everything is tinged by mode of passion and ignorance. But in the Vaikuntha, Sattvam Vishtabhya Virajam, there is no mode of ignorance, no mode of passion, no mode of goodness also. It is pure goodness. And Lord himself comes to help his devotees. That's how Lord works for his devotees. He is working very hard. Maharaurav haite korile tomara uddhar, kripara samudra Krishna gambhir apar. Haridas Thakur is telling to Sanatana Goswami. Sanatana Goswami, when he was coming from Vrindavan to Jagannath Puri, he drank some infected water and his whole body was covered with boils. Pus was coming out. So Mahaprabhu, he embraced Sanatana Goswami and cured him. So Haridas Thakur is saying, just see, Kripar Samudra Krishna Gambhir Apar, Supreme Lord is working so very gravely to protect you. So Prabhupada writes there, that is the nature of the Lord. So then, Brahmaji continues, okay, what else is there in Vaikuntha? The devotees are there, Lord is there. Any greenery anywhere? Or kuch hota hai kya? He says, there is a forest in Vaikuntha, which is called as Nishreyasa. Yatra Naishreyasam Nama Vanam Kama Dughay Drumai. It is a desire-fulfilling forest. Whatever you want, you will get it. But the good thing is, devotees don't ask anything. But in this world, एक desire tree आएगा तो लंबा line लग जाएगा इधर. So it is a forest of desire trees, but still nobody is seen around because nobody wants anything of this world. And in all seasons, all the flowers and fruits are there. But they don't have to wait for mangoes, summer season to eat mangoes. All seasons, all flowers, all fruits, they are always there. And in Vaikuntha, everything is spiritual. Everything is, chinvastu, chinmay. Even the dust particle is also chinmay. It is living. One time somebody asked Radhanath Maharaj, Maharaj, what happens to a gulab jamun when Krishna eats it in spiritual world? Gulab jamun is chinmay, hai? Living hai na, kya hota hoga gulab jamun ka? So Maharaj, he said, this when Krishna eats it, gulab jamun touches each and every part of Krishna's mouth and gives him all the pleasure and then jumps out. One time Prabhupada, he was telling, he was to explain how everything is spiritual, everything is chinmay. So Prabhupada said, when Radharani cooks rice for Krishna, she just asks Krishna, so are you, asks rice, so are you done? So rice says, no, 2 minutes more, I'm not yet completely cooked. So that's how Prabhupada would give some examples to explain how everything is spiritual, chinmay vastu. And then he describes, okay, what about the residents? Aur kaun hai idhar? The rehne wale kaise lagte hain? How do they look like? Now beautiful description is coming. Vaimanika salalana charitani shashvat. You can cite. I've put on the group. I've put on the group. Yeah. Gayanti yatra shamala shapanani bharatu. Antarjalenu vikasan madhumadhavinam. Gandhe na khandita dhiyo apyanilam shipantaha. So in spiritual world, all the Vaikuntha Vasis, they have their personal chartered plane. Vaimanika, everybody has a personal plane, and there is no brahmachari ashram there. They are all with their wives. Sa lalana, Vaimanika, sa lalana. And when in this world, when a husband and wife or a male and female, they are moving around in the garden, what they'll be singing? They'll be singing bhajan, Sukha Sampati. No, they'll be singing the glories of each other. But what these people are doing, Charitani Shashwat Gayanti, they are singing the glories of Lord. They never get satiated by that. They bahut ho gaya, abhi thoda baki ga lete hain gana, Gayanti yatra shamalam shapanani bharatu. That Supreme Lord, whose character and activities are devoid of all the inauspicious things. And as they are singing the glories of the Lord, they are traveling in their planes. They happen to pass by a beautiful pond, which is full of Madhavi flowers. Madhavi flowers, they are very fragrant flowers. So the air carries the aroma of that Madhavi flower to these Vaikuntha Vasis. In this world, Prabhupada writes in one of the places that when there is all this fragrant atmosphere, nice breeze is blowing, it stimulates all the lusty desires. But in Vaikuntha, this doesn't happen. Gandhen akhandit dhiyaha. Their intelligence never gets disturbed by all this beautiful atmosphere. And on the contrary, they actually, criticize that wind. They say, Chakravarti Thakur writes, they say, oh, cool, gentle breeze, what do you think of yourself? Why are you diverting our attention? Do you think you are more sweet than the glories of the Lord? So just don't disturb us. So that is how they are absorbed in Krishna Katha. So if you are absorbed in transcendental bliss, then nothing can distract you. And the famous example in this world is Haridas Thakur. Krishna nama Vishtamana sada Haridas aranye rodita hoila Sri Bhava Prakash. Maya Devi herself came to test Haridas Thakur, but Haridas Thakur was completely equipoised. Nirvikar Haridas Gambhira Ashay Nirvikar. He was completely undisturbed. So Prabhupada writes, the inhabitants of Vaikuntha, they are always interested in glorifying the Lord. They have no attraction for any sense gratification of this world. Okay, are there any birds or animals there in the spiritual world? They say, so Brahmaji describes the birds of the spiritual world. Paravatanya Bhrita Sarasa Chakravaka datyuh hamsa shukatittiri barhinam ya kolahalam viramate chiramatramuchai bhringadipe harikatha ivagayamane. All these beautiful birds, they are singing beautiful song. What all birds are there? Paravata, pigeon, Anyabhrita, kaku, Chakravak, Datyuh, crane, Hamsa, swan, Tittiri, parrots or partridge, Barhinam, peacock. All these beautiful birds are singing. They all sing nicely. Kolahal, kolahal ho raha hai pura. But a bumblebee comes from somewhere and starts buzzing. Kolahalam viramate chiramatramuchai. All the kolahal becomes silent. Why? Bhringadipe harikatha ivagayamane. All these birds, they think, oh, let us be silent. No, this bumblebee is singing the glories of the Lord. Let's hear the glories of the Lord as sung by this bumblebee. So the word used is Bhringadipe harikatha iva. As if, bumblebee is not singing harikatha, but they take it like that. Iva. They say, oh, this bumblebee must be coming from the garland of Lord Vishnu. So therefore, let's give him all the respect. They are very respectful. Bhringadipe harikatha iva gaya mani. So anyone who is trying to glorify the Lord deserves respect. However big or however small one may be. Somebody may be doing a direct service of speaking. Somebody may be doing indirect service. So many other services are there. Both deserves respect. Every devotee should be respected for whatever services they are doing in Krishna consciousness. So one should not feel only those who are speaking, they are great devotees. Those who are doing all these other services, they are very small devotees. No. They both deserve equal respect. Any service related to Krishna deserves respect. Otherwise, it will be all, will not be able to advance in Krishna consciousness. So then, okay, what about the other flowering plants of the spiritual world? What is their intention? What is their mood? Mandara kunda kurabotpala champakarna punna ganaga bakulambuja parijata gandherchite tulasika bharanena tasya yasmin tapassu manaso bahumanayanti. Various fragrant flowers are there. Mandara, kunda, kuraba, utpala, champaka we can understand. Utpal also. Arna, punnaga, naga, bakula also we can see. Ambuja, lotus, parijata, all fragrant flowers. But when they see Tulsi Maharani, they give all respect to Tulsi Maharani. Because Yasmin tapaha sumanaso, Tulsi Maharani has done lots of tapasya to please the Lord. That's why she is there on the lotus feet of the Lord. Lord never leaves her. So there is no envy in the spiritual world. Sudama Prabhu says, envy means no vacancy. If you have envy, then there is no vacancy for you in the spiritual world. We cannot go to the spiritual world with this envy. Envy means I cannot tolerate what you have. So therefore, these birds and these plants, they are completely non-envious. They are not thinking, "Arey, we are so great, we are singing nicely, we have such fragrance." Tulasi has a fragrance, but not like all the other fragrant flowers. But still, they give all the respect to Tulsi Maharani. So that is, and Prabhupada writes, importance of Tulasi leaves is very clearly recommended here. Prabhupada is so very wonderful. Out of the 64 limbs of Krishna consciousness, bhakti, Rupa Goswami gives the nectar of devotion, 64 limbs. Just attending Mangal Aarti from 5 a.m. to 9 a.m., 9:15, we do more than 50 limbs of devotional service. Just by being in Mangal Aarti, you can count it. That's how Prabhupada has very strategically, made this Mangal Aarti program. Without knowing also, unknowingly, even if somebody is there, he is doing so many things. And one of that is Tulsi, worshipping Tulsi Maharani. So Prabhupada writes, devotees are recommended to water Tulsi tree every day and collect the leaves. And then Prabhupada says, one atheistic Swami remarked, what is the use of watering Tulsi? Just put brinjal, at least somebody will be, belly will be fulfilled, somebody's belly will get filled. Prabhupada says, these foolish creatures, they don't know what havoc they are creating in the society by destroying the faith of people. So we should be aware of the potency of even a simple thing we are doing in Krishna consciousness. Just watering Tulsi is so very amazing. Rupa Goswami describes the power of just being near Tulsi Maharani. Ya drishta nikhilagasam shamani sprishta vapu pavani roganam abhivandita nirashani siktankita trasini प्रत्यासक्ति विधायिनी भगवता श्री कृष्ण संरोपिता न्यस्ता त्यच्चरणे विमुक्ति फलदा तस्यै तुलस्यै नमः. या दृष्टा, just by seeing Tulsi Maharani, what happens? Nikhil agh shang shamani, all the sins get destroyed. Sprishta, just touching Tulsi Maharani, the body gets purified. By eating Tulasi, roganam abhivandita nirashani, all the diseases go away. Siktankita trasini, just by putting water, one becomes free of all the fear. And anybody who offers Tulasi at the lotus feet of the Lord, pratyasatti vidayini bhagavata Sri Krishna samropita, anybody who plants Tulasi gets love of God. Nyasta tyacharane, anybody who offers Tulasi, he gets free from the cycle of birth and death. That is the power of Tulsi Maharani. Drishta, sprishta, tatha dhyata, pujita, kirtita, kirtita, namita stuta, pujita sevita nityam, kirtita tulsi shubha, navadha tulsi devi ye bhajanti dine dine, yuga koti sahasrani ye vasanti hari grihe. If these 9 things are done, you will go back to the spiritual world. What is that? Just by drishta, sprishta, just by taking darshan, by touching, by meditating on Tulasi. Dhyata, by glorifying Tulasi. By namita, by offering obeisances to Tulasi. By ropita, by sowing, putting Tulasi somewhere. In all these ways, someone gets liberated. So these are the various small things which are very, very powerful. And then after describing the beauty of the surrounding things, now Brahmaji describes the beauty of the city which is there. What else is happening in the Vaikuntha planets? So, okay, we'll take one more verse and then we'll stop. Yat sankulam haripadanati matra drishtai vaidyuryamar katahe mamaye vimanai yesham brihat katitata smita shobhimukhya krishnatmanam naraja adadu utsmayadyai. So now, all these Vaikuntha planets, they have their personal chartered planes. So that plane is not made up of tin and iron and rubber. That is made up of Vaidurya, Marakata, Hemamai. It is made up of lapis lazuli, emerald and gold. And they are with their beautiful wives, but still na raja. Rajogun never disturbs these Vaikuntha-vasis because they are Krishna Atma. Their Atma is in Krishna. Krishna Atmanam na raja. So that is the difference between the material beauty of this world and the beauty of the spiritual world. That spiritual beauty doesn't disturb a person to a lower level and doesn't bring it to the lower level. It all helps one to remember Krishna more. So Prabhupada writes, in the material world, the association of opposite gender brings, lusty desires, but in the spiritual world, it doesn't happen like that. So we'll stop here. We'll continue from this verse 21 next time. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Granthra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.